Hey everyone, this is Sean. Welcome back to my channel. Early in the morning, I was watching a video that David from the Security Guard Command made, and I'll give you a brief summary of the video, but ultimately I would like you to subscribe to David's channel and also watch that video on your own. This is actually one of the best videos that I've seen in a very long time. This is his videos at least in my top 3 videos of all of the security videos that are out there. Make sure that you watch this video. It's on the Security Guard Command. In the description box, I will leave a link right there for you guys. So let me just summarize. David works security. I think he works at a hospital. And it looks like he was driving home. And he managed to put a security uniform somewhere in the back seat on the seat. I think he rested it on there. And he saw some sheriff's deputies rolling code 3. In California, that means lights and sirens. Passed by him, and he continued down to his destination, came upon an intersection, saw what he thought was 100 people in the middle intersection, and then that 100 turned into 1,000. He continued, and there was a roadblock, and it was a legal roadblock. He was surrounded by a lot of people. We'll call them an angry mob, because that's what they are. And they saw his uniform in the back, and they said something to the effect that, hey, there was a cop. This is a police officer. And the whole crowd got a little bit more rowdy, it appeared. When David was giving the story, my heart was beating hard for him, because I just felt like if he had one of those blue line stickers that a lot of you guys like to put on your uniforms, on your cars, if he had the blue line sticker, or he had a uniform that looked almost like a police officer uniform, and I've seen those uniforms, and I've talked about those uniforms when I do my social media review audits. We have some private security officers that act like they're police officers. If that angry crowd saw that, David would not be here today. He would not have been able to make that video. That's why my heart was beating a little bit faster. And we've talked about this on other videos, other subscribers, other people commenting, and they're suggesting that security guards not wear the same or not portray themselves as police officers for this reason. Now, luckily, David explained, hey, I'm a security guard. And they saw his uniform and they said, wait a minute, that is a security guard uniform. We'll let him pass. If that was me, I would be dead. I would be dead. I've worked in law enforcement a very long time. Well, currently working in law enforcement. Finished my 20 years now. I'm working on year 21. I live in a relatively safe area, mostly pro-police, and I could put my uniform in the back. When I worked in the Los Angeles area, I had to put my uniform. The cleaner, when you go to cleaners, they put this black wrap on all the law enforcement uniforms, and that's what I had. But I felt comfortable over the years and just let my uniform just sit there in the back. Now, obviously, it's not hanging so that everyone could see, but I have it on a downward position, and I'll throw a jacket on it, a blanket or something like that, so that people don't recognize me as being somebody that's related to law enforcement. But had I went to the intersection, I think I would have been a goner. Now, this is what scares me the most. Number one, I have the fear of dying by an angry mob like this. I have the fear of getting severely injured and being in a machine my whole life. And please pull that plug if that happens to be me. Those are the first portions of my fear. The second half of my fear is my capability of what I can do to another human being if my life is in jeopardy. And it's awful knowing what I can do to another human being, even in a justified situation. There's a third pillar, a third challenge that has to be overcome, and that's these prosecutors. If you're in Alameda County, I just feel like they would prosecute you if you have to use force. And Sean, you might be saying, Sean, what kind of force are you talking about? Well, I'm going to be blunt. I'm talking about running them over. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And there's prosecutors in some of these counties that wouldn't hesitate to prosecute you for even defending your life. And you might say, well, wait a minute. I'm a security officer. I'm not a police officer. They combine you in the same categories when they prosecute you. They see somebody in uniform, wearing a badge and gun, they're going to put you in the same area. With all of this defunding the police movement and anti-police movement, I've said this 2 years ago for the private security professionals, a lot of these anti-police laws, they start trembling on security. Enroaching is the word I'm looking for, enroaching into private security. I even named a couple of laws, one of them being AB 229. That's the use of force law that pertains to law enforcement, and that has eventually trickled down to private security. I've talked about this in other videos. I want to say about 2 years ago, they took away the law enforcement ability to use chemical agents to disperse a crowd. So you know that crowd that David was talking about, or that angry mob? Law enforcement cannot go over there and deploy tear gas agents to disperse the crowd. Not in California. They took away that ability. They took away the ability to police. They took away the ability for law enforcement to do that. Even in situations like that. California is getting out of control, guys. You go to the ballot box and you keep voting for Democrat. This is what you're voting for. You're voting for chaos, destruction, and you're voting for the downhill of California when you do that. I know that there's a lot of people who immigrate into this country. By the way, I'm a first-generation American, proud first-generation American. My family immigrated here from another country. And thank you, America, for letting my family in. But when there's immigrants, okay, you have these politicians that need the votes, and they say, come on in over here. There's a rush of Vietnamese communities coming in, Latino communities, Hispanic communities, communities of all sorts. And then you have these politicians who attach themselves to people who are well ingrained into these certain communities. And these politicians say, whatever it is, you let me know. We'll take care of you in this country, which is great. But all that they want is the votes. If you come into this country and you're just voting for these people, okay, because they gave you some certain privileges, or you believe that they gave you certain privileges, and they're helping you out get into America. You're an idiot. You're a dumb ass. That's what you are, because you're not looking at the overall picture. This is going to hurt you. You are stupid, and I say it on camera. You're stupid. And I talk to a lot of dumb, stupid people who call me on a regular basis, and these same people are the ones that are voting these idiots into office. That law that I just mentioned, where the police can't disperse gas, that's AB 48. All these idiots that you guys keep voting for, they created this new law. So according to AB 48, what the police have to do is they have to go over there and find out who the aggressor is, and they have to go through a list of, I think it's 13 items. Okay, so let's just say they're getting this large crowd that's blocking the intersections. There's a list of 13 items that have to be covered. And I don't even know them off the top of my head. I have to come up with a list in order to deploy chemical agents. Now, keep in mind, though, that the other option for law enforcement is to single out an aggressor who is threatening life. Not property, but just threatening life. You single them out. You might hit them with a marker round from one of the launchers. He's hit, he's tagged, and it's less lethal, obviously. And then that's the aggressor. That's where the concentration has to be on that person. Now, if there's people around that person, you're not supposed to you're not supposed to use any type of force against the people that are around this primary aggressor. You think that those deputy sheriffs that were rolling Code 3 in Davids County, you think that they're able to go there and spend enough time and say, oh, wait a minute, that person's being aggressive, that person's not being aggressive. We're gonna aim all of our launchers towards this person over here, but not these people over here. No, they're not even gonna respond. And just imagine that you're working private security or you're going home and you need law enforcement out. They are not going to respond, you guys. You are your own initial responder. It's up to you. Driving forward, okay? You drive forward and you hurt somebody, that's a potential homicide charge. Potential manslaughter charge. It's just something to think about. I'm not saying you can't do it. You have to feel like your life is being threatened. Me personally, I would consider backing up before I plow this angry mob. And they're not a crowd, they're a mob, an angry mob. I said it once and I said it before on camera, they're angry mob. If I back up and I have the mob in back of me, I go forward, it's in back of me, there's no way to go on the sides. What do you expect someone like me to do? I'm gonna just keep going forward, guys. Just keep going forward. And it just scares me on what I'm capable of doing to a human being. I'm scared on what could happen. I'm just trying to save my life so I make it home another day to see my family. And just that fear of being charged just scares me. Good on David. I've never been in that situation. I'd be scared, guys. I would probably be crapping in my pants if I had this angry mob surrounding me, determining whether or not I'm law enforcement. It just scares me. If I was in that situation, I just wouldn't be here. You guys that are putting these blue line flags on your cars, and then you have these uniforms that look almost exactly like police officers, good luck explaining that to this mob. If you're gonna do that, at least put everything in the trunk. If they ask you to open up the trunk to see what's inside, it's on you, guys. It's scary what's happening right now. David mentions that he works in one of the top 5 dangerous communities out there, working private security. It's probably not, I'm not gonna say where he works, but it's probably not even number 5. It's somewhere up there. I work in the number 1 most dangerous city in California, and that it fluctuates. Sometimes it's number 3, number 5, but usually number 1 or number 2. And I've been scared for these demonstrations. I worked at a hospital. I'll say this, there's been a couple of times when they've had these unlawful demonstrations and I'm going to the hospital, working my security gig. This is a long time ago, and I was just so anxious my whole shift. But I had plans, ideas on what to do. During those times, I had something in my car. It starts off with, I'm not gonna mention what it is, but the first word is mini, and the last, it's a mini, and then there's 2 numbers that come after the dash. I'm not gonna say on camera because YouTube gets pissed off, and then I'm gonna have to get demonetized again and go through the whole process again. But that's what I had on me, just in case. Now, some of you might be saying, well, David should have just backed up. He didn't back up. He felt like it was safe. He felt a little bit anxious, but he didn't back up. So let's talk about the next issue, uniforms, okay? Why didn't he put his uniforms in the trunk? He didn't put the uniforms in the trunk. I keep my uniforms inside of my car. I'm not gonna put them in the trunk because they're gonna end up getting wrinkled. And I know what the repercussions are, but he didn't. Okay, he didn't back up. He went into this angry mob and he had his uniform. Oh well, okay, it happened. And I'm so glad, I'm not gonna say I'm so glad this happened, but I'm glad that he made the video so that everyone else can be aware. Everyone else can be situationally aware. Know what you have in your car, guys, and just stop putting this blue line stuff all over your car. In my career of law enforcement, I am an academy instructor. I look at everybody's bags, and some of the guys have military patches, look cool. And then I see the blue line flag on like half of the war bags. We call them the war bags or the patrol bags. They're all over. You're just opening yourself up, guys. That flag, I don't have that blue line flag anywhere, guys. Sometimes I get that blue line flag with some of the gear that I get, and that goes in the trash. I have my ballistic helmet. Okay, this is not a blue line flag. This is an American flag. Nothing that associates me with law enforcement. That's all I have, guys. I'm glad that David made the video. Make sure that you guys watch his video, like his video, subscribe to his channel, and I'm looking forward to the dialogue. Take care and be safe.